Hey guys, welcome back to the What About AI podcast. I'm Sean Boyce.
I'm James Perkins.
And the topic that we want to talk about today is that Spotify has recently said that their development team hasn't written any code by hand since December. Today marks, we're about what, middle of February for the most part. So for several months now, supposedly the Spotify development team hasn't been writing any code by hand. This was announced on a Q4 earnings call, I believe, by their CEO, Gustav. And then I've got some stats here about what they shared in terms of the details related to the story as well, which I think are interesting. So basically, record gross margin, the shares soared on this news that they have 751 million monthly active users and that the individual productivity from the development team is supposed to have theoretically increased by 30% per developer. It's pretty dramatic as well too. And a lot of what they talk about in here is that in 2025 they had shipped like a record number of feature sets, a lot of them AI powered, as you can imagine. I've got a little bit of detail in terms of what those are as well also, but this I think is the topic that we want to unpack further. It kind of begs the question, you know, is this what we're expected to see more of in the future? As in, are humans going to continue to be writing code or not? I don't know. What's your take?
Well, I think the near future, definitely, right? Folks that couldn't code before are coding now. So, true software engineers, folks that went to school for engineering or brought themselves up in the traditions of like starting with basic and working their way up to C sharp, et cetera, like they're coding more proficiently than they were before if they're using AI because you can just do so much more, so much more quickly. Um, but I think within companies, yes, the forward-thinking startups that are leaning into AI are definitely performing more, faster, better. I mean, I'm seeing CEOs that are really engaged in their business that still have ideas of their own, getting involved in coding again. Like they're because you can use the tools to accelerate yourself so much. Brilliant people aren't going to stop being brilliant. They're just going to do more. So if you're a great engineer, you're able to code much more now with AI tools.
In terms of how they're leveraging this tech, I want to share with you a internally coded program that they developed for their technical teams in leveraging AI from a development perspective. It's got the greatest name ever. It's called HONK. And where it comes from is they developed the ability essentially where their team can leverage AI from their phone and they could do things like fix bugs, squash bugs, and ship features from their phone on their commute to and from work.
That's
I think
crazy.
is really wild and interesting. Obviously, not while they're trying to drive, kind of thing, but if you're taking public transportation or whatever, you're just kind of on your phone and you've got some time to be able to do so. They've enabled their team to be able to kind of do that. It's not something I would have, before AI, of course, thought even possible, basically. But nowadays, you can see it, right? We use it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, if you can write a prompt that says, "Go test this segment of the code," or "Hey, I found a bug with page load time. Can you go address this?" You don't have to give any more detail than that.
No.
And if you're using Claude Code or Codex, it'll go find the page you're referencing, review the code on its own, find the bug, and fix it, and then write you back and say, "Oh, it's done, and I found these two other things." So you can do it driving into work, though you shouldn't do it while driving.
Yes, unless you have self-driving, I guess, car, or you're taking a self-driving car.
Tesla one hand, phone fixing bugs on the other.
Not quite. Safety first, guys. That's what I always tell my kids. So, because on the show, obviously, we talk a lot about, how knowledge workers can AI proof their careers and things that they can do. Curious, like, what are your takeaways for our listeners who are worried about that based on this news?
I would say the biggest piece of advice is learn how to use AI, which we say almost every single podcast, but learn how to use it for your specific interest areas. So if you're already a tester or you really love building test cases, figure out how to use AI to build the best end-to-end tests or figure out how to use AI for volume testing. If you're someone that's accustomed to building UI UX experiences, major gaps still exist. I mean, you can plug Figma into Claude or Codex and have it do some of that for you, but there's still a need for tons of human intervention there. So kind of find your skill set and where your passion and skill set intersect with where there are gaps in what the AI can do, And there's plenty still. And I think even after we reach that data center of geniuses that Dario Modi has talked about, I think we'll still have room for humans to weigh in and kind of direct traffic a little bit for the parts that AI might not inherently be concerned with, or there's enough subjective information that it can't discern what matters most. So, a good, for instance, is actually UI design. There's tons of different perspectives on how to build the best UI experience for customers. And there's no one de facto standard that works for everybody. So that's an area where you kind of have to use your own discretion. AI kind of, you've heard the term AI slop. AI always defaults to the same look and feel. Big complaint for users of Lovable,
Love
but
lovable. Should
but
be beating up my lovable.
there's tons of that out there right now where there's room for humans to weigh in and figure out what works best and define their specific tact or approach. And that could become a skill, not like a human skill, but you could actually write a skill file for the AI to ingest. So that's how I would look at improving your work in whatever area of software engineering you're in today. That's how you can help yourself using this tech.
To add to that, I'd say if I were in the workforce now and AI was coming and making these types of changes, we're seeing companies like Spotify turn their entire kind of operation around to implementing it essentially fully and quickly. I think you got to prepare yourself for a potential future where humans basically aren't writing any code. So the reason why I want you to prepare for that is because if that doesn't materialize, you'll be covered either way. So, if what we've seen Spotify do, and it seems like it's going well for them thus far, if that continues to be the standard or more companies move in that direction, you'll be prepared for that. But also, you kind of already have the skills of being able to leverage these tools technically yourself and write code manually or whatever, right? All the technical work that you need to do today. So, the more you're prepared for either one or realistically both of those possible future combinations, I think it better protects you and insulates you from any impact that you might see with your future career. So I don't know. I just
That's
like to
great
think that's
advice.
probably a good
Yeah.
way. That's kind of how I think about it.
One thing they've mentioned is they're going to start expanding their scope because they're moving so fast now, because this is enabling, they said 30% improvement.
Yep.
They're going to start looking at doing video very aggressively on Spotify. So if you're building YouTube podcasts, that's what we started here, you'll be able to start natively building those things in Spotify soon. They're also looking at like where their form of discovery and entertainment intersect. So they're talking about how they can partner with other providers of entertainment, quality entertainment that they want to incorporate into their platform. So they're just moving so fast that
Mm.
I don't think they're going to lose the true mission that they started with. I think Gustav has a clear vision for where he wants to go, but they're able to get there so much faster. Items from their roadmap 2 years into the future are being worked on this year.
Mm.
That's how much faster they're moving.
Yeah. Finally, product managers everywhere can rejoice. All those roadmaps they wanted
The
completed
backlog will
yesterday.
be clean soon. Yeah.
That's right. We're gonna need to use AI to come up with more ideas about what to ship because we're shipping so fast. So, and then for my non-technical crowd, or folks that aren't developers, what does this mean for you? Just like I mentioned, I think developers should inevitably prepare themselves for a future where no code is any longer being written by humans. I think we've seen Boris talk about this like significantly, and very recently, the creator of Claude Code of Anthropic, he's talked at length about the fact that he doesn't write code by hand anymore, and they're shipping more PRs than ever, which are basically uh, pull requests or different updates to their code base. But for my non-technical crowd, I would say think of what this impact similarly might be for your world, right? You could be a project manager, a product manager, customer service, whatever. It's any of the stuff that you do today that theoretically can now or probably in the near future be automated or fully automated. Think about what your role looks like
Yeah.
if you're leveraging AI in that way at some point in the future. So prepare yourself for that potential eventuality or inevitability.
Yeah.
Cool.
Perfect.
Anything else to add for this one before we wrap up?
No, I think we're good.
Good stuff. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We appreciate it.
Thanks all.